shells, and I call up my brother. I want to show my nephews this beautiful view, this beautiful view. The gulls are flying high nowadays. Every day's getting hotter. Sunlight touches my skin. Soon I look like my father. I wanna dive into the ocean now. You would follow me if you were here, right? I don't need much, I just need time to sit down and watch how the clouds are saying hello, then waving goodbye. I don't need much more than a little bit of time. I moved away from home and it felt kind of scary, but I needed to be alone to find what's here inside me, and it feels like I am closer to it now. I'm gonna find it all someday, somehow. I don't need much, I just need time to sit down and watch how the clouds are saying hello and waving goodbye. I don't need much more than a little bit of time. I don't need much more than a little bit of time. The waves are rolling in, and I'm dipping my feet in the water. I found some beautiful shells, and I call up my brother. I want to show my nephews this beautiful view, this beautiful view. The gulls are flying high nowadays. Every day's getting hotter. Sunlight touches my skin. Soon I look like my father. I wanna dive into the ocean now. You would follow me if you were here, right? I don't need much, I just need time to sit down and watch how the clouds are saying hello, then waving goodbye. I don't need much more than a little bit of time. I moved away from home and it felt kind of scary, but I needed to be alone to find what's here inside me, and it feels like
How are you guys doing?
Hello. Good. How are you?
I'm good. I am excited we could all meet and sit down and do this chat.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
I'm making sure everybody's in. Josh, are you doing all right? I'll give him a second. So I am new to live streaming, so if there's a couple hiccups, just bear with me. I think it's going well pretty much so far. I did the little graphics. It was really exciting. I love graphic design. How have you guys felt about being in the series so far?
It's been fun.
I know there was a little hiccups along the way, trying to get everything, the last 2 episodes done on my end, over scheduling and stuff. I fractured my ankle because I dropped a door on it, and then no, I was carrying my son's door broke. I was carrying it downstairs, and I dropped it on my ankle, and then I like dropped the whole door and broke the banister, and it was a fun time.
Oh my gosh.
At least it's a story to tell later.
I know. Leave it to boys to break in their doors.
I keep seeing Josh's like
picture,
and then it doesn't work.
I don't know. Let me see if he messaged at all. No, he's in here. I just don't know what's going on with his thing. I'll give him a second. This is a different platform too. So we are officially live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Substack, and I believe TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah. And then you guys can share on your own things too if you want. I was like, I'm just gonna tackle everything. We're gonna just do it all. It's a very me thing to do too.
Can we tell who's watching at the time? Or is it only if they like comment?
No, it's only if they comment, I think. This whole software is new to me. I've never in my life went live. And even on my podcast, I tend to hide my face.
Well, if people are out there, say hello.
Hello.
Say that you see us.
I know. I think I fixed that. Cool. Yeah. Okay. I don't know what's going on with Josh. I'm gonna text message him and see if everything is all right. You guys can also share this on your profiles too. Let everybody know you're live. I shared on mine on my Twitter the link. I'll send it to you guys too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
That way you guys can just post and the live video will show up.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Is there anything we should be talking about in the meantime?
I don't want to get started in the chat until Josh is in here, and I don't know what is going on with his thingy.
Vicky now.
What is it?
Did Vicky fall out?
I think she closed her browser.
Mm.
Hold on 1 second. Everything went so well up to this point.
It's a new platform.
Yeah. I just sent you a message with the link to share it, the live on your profile.
Okay, cool.
Oh, there's Vicky. Vicky's back, and Josh went away. Oh, I hope we get this figured out soon. I don't want to. We get this all scheduled in the whole entire time we're troubleshooting. That would be my luck. That really would.
Maybe we should just start chatting, and if Josh is able to get in, then great. But otherwise, then, yeah.
That's fine.
Fun fact, when you hit stream this to your audience, it logs you out.
Really?
Weird.
Thing I learned. So 10 out of 10 would not recommend.
I was wondering, I'm like, oh no, like if we have like so much issues where like we have to reschedule again and we're already live, that would be great.
No. Yeah, let's just get started. That way we can chat while you get some stuff sorted out and people can ask us questions and things.
Alrighty. So my first question would be for you guys. So when we started this, we went over who you guys are as a human being, your life outside of publishing, the things that ground you, pieces of yourself that get overshadowed by the role. So you guys did a lot of moments where you were very vulnerable and you told things maybe that the public doesn't otherwise know about you. So of these things, when you went and shared that, were you at all expecting, what did you think the public response would be?
I think I always assume that someone's going to be mean that way. Because if I assume it the other way around, then it's a little bit more like knife to the heart when someone's mean. But I don't find that most authors are that way. Like I think in general, it's a very positive industry. It's just with social media, like people have the barrier of the screen and can really be candid with their thoughts.
Yeah.
And I also have to remind myself pretty frequently that like, I'm not going to be the best agent for every author. And that's not a bad thing. It just is. Yeah. Just like not every book is for every reader. And so I try to remind myself when I'm sharing those things is just like, it's not always about me when there's a disconnect or when there's an opinion on what I have to say.
That's so true. And I don't think I gave a lot of forethought to what responses would be when we did our initial recording of episodes. I just tried to answer honestly and hope that it was helpful for somebody. So I didn't dwell on the possibility that somebody might be like, yeah, but you rejected me, blah, 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 or, you know, whatever they might be feeling, which, I mean, it would be legitimate if they're feeling that, but at the same time, also, I think Vicky's right. Like on the whole, there's a lot of positivity in the writing community.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually genuinely surprised on my end because I created this because all the negativity that has been brewing in the writing community. So I was fully prepared to go in mama lion mode and like protect you guys fiercely. And everybody was so welcoming and so open to the subjects and didn't come like with their pitchforks to try and come at you guys. And that I was so proud of the writing community at that point. I'm like, this is the writing community that I started with 16 years ago. This is it. And this is what we need to keep and foster. So I'm hoping that this series leaves that lasting imprint. So are you guys at all surprised by the that it's had nothing but positive responses, not even a single negative comment or review?
I think not really, because I wasn't dwelling on the possibility of negativity, so I wasn't really surprised. But I will have to say shout out to Bruce Buchanan for like being there and supporting us, because he's really been there with the positive comments.
Oh, he's such a sweetheart, and the comments were so full. I featured him in one of the articles, and oh, he's so great. What do you think, Vicky?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that like, yeah, I was mentally telling myself be prepared, but it's kind of like how you tell yourself, like, be prepared for an F so that you're really happy when you get an A, even though you clearly studied and like, you know, Like, I think that had more to do with me and like my mindset than what I was actually expecting from people.
Yeah.
I actually think that one of the things that's really interesting about agenting is there's a ton of negativity that we get, like, you know, like emails that I'll get when I pass on somebody, or private messages I get, or, you know, all kinds of things that have happened on my end. A lot more people have been like appreciative and positively affected, but those people don't always have the opportunity or think to be as loud as the people with negative experiences.
Yeah.
So I think that that's always interesting too, is sometimes it's not that nobody wants to say something positive, it's just nobody thinks to. So I think that there's a lot of good that can come from talking about and recognizing on all sides what some more positivity can do. And that doesn't just go on the author side, that goes on the agenting side as well, like how we can be more supportive within reason and things like that.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, that a lot of people might have positive things that they would want to say in response, but those are also the people that are paying attention to the etiquette of, like, if you did have to pass, you had a lot positive to say, but you had to pass. They are very aware probably that the etiquette is don't respond at all, even if what you have to say is good.
Yeah.
I think for me too, I always tell people, like, you know, I respond to every query and submission I receive. So if you haven't heard from me, feel free to nudge. As long as you're nice about it, it's never going to bother me. I can't speak for all agents. I can only speak for myself. But like, as long as you're not, you know, coming at me with some swear words, like,
Yeah.
you know, nudges are greatly appreciated on my end. And the same thing goes for thank yous. If it's approached with no expectation of work on my part, or, you know, an expectation of a response, that takes a lot of pressure on my shoulders, and, you know, is often what'll make my day. But it's very different when somebody private messages me or like emails my personal email and says, I know you rejected, can you please let me know more specifically why that is and how I can improve? While it's well intentioned, you're basically popping into somebody's email and saying, can you do this free work for me?
Yeah.
And so even though it isn't malicious or ill-intentioned, you know, that can be anxiety inducing on our end, because if I could have given more feedback, I would have.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, those are tough ones to receive, because I think the only thing to do usually is not respond, because that is something that the information is out there already about what the numbers are and why it's not possible to give feedback to everyone. And I know I want to write something like a blog post about this at some point. I think that most feedback at the query level is not really constructive, and that includes from me, because if I'm not the person that is super invested in working with that author, then my feedback is not the feedback they most need to be listening to, unless there's something really obvious, you know, like they made a really common error or something. But if they did, they can figure that out in another way too. But as far as, like, because I am an author and have been for so long, I've received so much well-intentioned feedback that isn't helpful, because it's not coming from someone who is truly invested in me and my work. And I'm aware of that then when I receive queries, until I'm really invested in working with this person or receiving an R&R that I'm like, oh, I know they can do that. I really think they can do this. I want to get this back. And until I'm at that point, my feedback's not really anything that they should be changing their work based on.
I actually had, I've talked about this before, but this was months ago. I had somebody sit down at a pitching session. So they were pitching agents at a conference, and they sat across from me and said, I just pitched another agent and they said to change XYZ. Do you agree? And I said, well, hold on a second. And I asked him a bunch of questions. And I said, okay, that agent you pitched, were they a commercial agent? Did they mostly work in the commercial market? And he said, I think so. And I said, okay, so here's what's happening. You had a commercial agent give you advice on how to make your work more commercial. You just told me you want this to be literary fiction. So it does not matter what Vicky thinks and if Vicky agrees. The question is, do you want your project to be more commercial or not? And there's not a wrong answer to that. But what you do from that point can make a big difference. And I've seen too many authors take feedback without taking that extra step to decipher where the feedback is coming from. And then they end up with this Frankenstein version of a manuscript that they aren't proud of and they aren't happy with. And that's not good for anyone involved. And so when you are thinking about what do I take, what do I leave, what do I listen to, what do I take in but maybe solve in a different way, you first have to understand where that feedback is coming from and whether or not it actually brings you closer or further from your vision. Right. Nobody else can decide that for you.
No, absolutely. I made that mistake before too. I see Josh is in.
Josh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, it works. Okay, cool. I didn't want to like cut in.
No, you're good. I'm glad
go.
you were able to join.
Yeah,
so
it was a little funky, but we got it. All right.
Yeah, so we just dove in. I was asking them, so when we started the series, what did you think the public response would be?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been super, super positive, and I love that, but I definitely didn't entirely expect that just because the whole reason I feel like this was done was in response to all the negativity that was kind of floating around. And it's not that I thought that would continue, but I know I had a little bit of anxiety about, doing something so public facing like this, especially never, I'm very careful about what I post online and things. And so I'm very happy, that it has been so positive and everybody's been so receptive to the feedback, because I think at the end of the day, we all just, want everyone to be successful. So, yeah.
We're all just people doing the best we can with the cards we've got.
Yes, that's like the total thing I've been trying to tell everybody. And I'll talk to some writers and they'll be like, well, they're gatekeepers, they're this. I'm like, they're literally just a person like you and me, just trying to do a job that they love and help. Like, they're in the same position we are. They didn't create the entire industry. They're in it trying to wade through the waters with us. They're just over here with an extra paddle, like giving it to us, saying, here's a paddle.
Well, that's the thing is like, if I could make a publisher or an editor buy a project, like if I could make them do it, my life would be so easy. I would be rolling in it. I would have no problems. Like, I wouldn't even have to really work.
Yeah, and the whole like stigma that you guys are in it for the money, I'm like, where?
Yeah, the math is not math for getting much money from this business.
Yeah,
math is not mathing.
But there is something to be said that like we provide the opportunity, but opportunity doesn't necessarily equal it going anywhere. There's so many layers to what's going on.
Yeah, and I mean, in that same, and it's so hypocritical too when they say you guys are gatekeepers, because in that same train of thought, well then if they're choosing not to read another author's book, aren't they a gatekeeper because they're not adding to the readership? That's just like you guys are choosing what books you guys resonate with, so are they. It's kind of double-sided coin. It doesn't make sense. So it's kind of hypocritical in my opinion too.
Well, something I did, so in 2025, I had 4 different agent mentors, and all of them had me do different things, but one of them made track what projects I represented, which ones sold, which ones didn't, like which one I sold subrights on, and then what buckets they fell into. So, how many literary picture books did I sell? How many nonfiction picture books did I sell? And so I had to kind of divide up all of my things, figure out what am I actually good at selling? It's great if I'm drawn to something as a reader, but what am I good at selling and positioning and getting past the finish line? What are the things that I'm good at editorially? And what are the skills I have that I can bring to an author? I learned very quickly that the reason I am drawn to manuscripts and queries that are plot driven is because I have no problem pulling a character out of an author. My colleagues at CMA are the opposite. They're like, I can pull a plot out of an author. Character has to be there. I can't do it that way. I don't know why. It's just not how my brain works. So it's very easy to think like, oh, this agent is picking things that align with their personal taste. And sometimes that's true, but it's mostly like, what do I know how to take to the next level?
Yeah.
Who do I have connections to do something with this? Like it's a little bit more complicated than just, do I like it as a reader? Because there's lots of things I like as a reader that I wouldn't rep.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, yeah. So the writers out there who are saying like, when they call you gatekeepers, but then they go and select and choose what books they want to read. In the same instance, you know, it's kind of the same double-sided coin is what I was meaning.
Oh, definitely.
So what do you guys hope this series will accomplish in the long run, or at least be like that little nudge towards something?
I would hope that it encourages authors that are querying or just feeling separated from the industry side of things, that like in the long run, it should be a reminder of we are all people. And because I think it gets very scary. And I was querying and submitting to publishers as early as the mid 1990s. And at that point, like you couldn't get on a call like this, and it was everything was behind a physical letter that you mailed off. And so people in New York publishing, and most of them were in New York at that point, instead of being all over the place as we can be now, like it was like, you know, they were in some high tower that I couldn't touch, and I felt less than. So I would hope that this helps people to not feel less than.
I agree. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that for me, I hope something like this kind of just encourages a little more kindness and a little more open-mindedness. You know, at the end of the day, this is a very difficult job. You know, authors want to be published, and we want that too. But for us, I mean, you know, we're trying to all build careers here. And that's very difficult in an industry that requires so many people to tell you yes over and over again, to where you can get that offer and you can get that deal. And, you know, and it's difficult. It takes time, it takes patience, and it can be really, really frustrating to have those no's pour in. But I think that, you know, the nice thing about the writing community, I mean, when I first got into publishing, like, you know, online spaces were full of authors, you know, supporting and uplifting each other. And that still exists and that still happens. And I love to see those things, like the pitch events online, like the Twitter events and those things. Like I love that stuff, you know, authors supporting each other. And I think there just needs to be more of that, you know, especially as, you know, publishing feels slower than ever. I'm sure you guys can attest to that. And it's just, you know, it's frustrating, it's slow, things aren't happening as quickly as maybe they did in the past. And I think just, you know, write your books, do your thing, stay in your own, and write for you. Be kind, be nice to each other. That's sort of, you know, what I kind of hope for, I guess.
Absolutely.
I hope less people self-reject as well, because I think some of the best writers that I've met and that, you know, I've had the pleasure of like meeting at a conference or meeting in passing are the people that, you know, doubt themselves the most or feel like, well, I haven't done enough, or I haven't, you know, like they're the overthinkers a lot of times.
Yeah.
And, you know, everything in balance, you know, I would encourage people to find better balance. But if you walk in already thinking it's going to be a no, you're never going to put yourself out there. And there are so many paths to success at this point. And success really looks different depending on who you ask. I have some authors that have debuted the traditional route. You know, they queried and then I signed with them and then their debut went out and it sold. Ta-da. I have many, many authors that is not what their journey looked like at all, not even close. We have more self-published authors getting picked up than in the past years. I have one author in particular who sold over 100,000 copies of a self-published title, and their first project did not sell on submission, not even close. So you can't even say, oh, if I just had XYZ, because there's so many irons in the fire. There's so many reasons for some of these decisions have nothing to do with the quality that you just don't know until you put yourself out there. And so I that's more what I wish more authors kind of took away from this, is just, don't say no to yourself before you've even given your work a chance. Be resilient and be receptive to the feedback that comes in, and always be looking to learn and grow and write the next thing. But also don't be so fearful that you never, ever put yourself out there.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. Some of my best, as a writer myself, some of my best moments and experiences in my writing career that I love to rant and rave about are with the ones that was like, I know maybe I shouldn't do that. And then I took the leap and I did it, like going to conferences in person and meeting people in person. Those are, the experiences I've had that I'll take with me my whole writing career, because I took that leap of faith and I stopped telling myself no and just did it.
Yeah, I can kind of attest to that from both the writer and agent side. Because when I was querying so many of the requests that I got were from people who were a long shot that I didn't expect to request. The one that was a fit is my actual agent that I'm with, where I looked at her profile for the very first time and I was like, yes, that is a fit. But so often it doesn't work that way. And the people that get interested, you don't know on paper if they're a fit. Mm-hmm. And then from the agent side, like I have a few clients who were querying for a really long time and just didn't give up, because like obviously their writing was really good. There was something great there, but I think they had something about their work that made people worry about taking a chance on them because they might not be a really high commercial bet. And I went, okay, I see the question about whether people are going to take a chance on this, but I really believe in this author and I want to work with them. So I'm really glad they didn't give up on themselves.
I love when I see someone like, I've been querying for X and X years. I'm like, keep doing it. I've been at this for 16 years. I started when I was 16. So obviously I had a lot of growing up to do and growing as a writer, because I thought you wrote a first draft and you were automatically famous. And I sent my rough draft to agents when I was 16. It was a fun time. I ran into one of those agents and they still remember me.
Oh no!
At a conference. Yeah, that was not a fun time, because I also argued with that agent when they rejected, like, why not? This is great.
Oh no.
I was so mortified. And then I ran into another one that I did that too, but I was too scared to talk to him. It was, I don't know how to say his name correctly. He's at Triada. Stender. Yeah. I was like, nope, not going to say hi on the chance that he remembers me too from then. It was a fun time. But yeah, I'm 16 years in now, and this manuscript that I have had so much positive feedback and have made it more further in the query trenches than I ever have. So yeah, keep going. Don't give up. I love seeing when people don't give up on that.
I actually, as an author, have been agented twice. And one thing I wish I had done that I know now I should have done is I should have left my first agent sooner than I did.
Really?
It worked out and it was all fine, but we were very clearly not a fit. And so that was 3 years of like nothing happening with my project because of us not being the best fit that we could be. And so it's hard though, because it does feel like a little bit like a breakup, and it's like, I don't want to be alone, or like, what if no one else loves me?
I know. And then the
So
trend
it's terrifying. It's very scary. And I was so deep in the industry that I knew, like, well, picture books are really tough right now. Like, what if I don't get somebody else, you know, or what if it takes a long time? Or there were a lot of fears. And I realize now that it was mostly myself talking myself out of doing the thing I needed to do.
Yeah.
So eventually when it happened and we amicably parted ways, one of the things I decided to do was pull out my whole portfolio. And the first thing I did was try not to cry, because I was like, this is garbage. I'm garbage. Why did she rep me? This is terrible. Yeah. And then I, you know, picked myself up off the floor and was like, okay, let me, you know, tweak this, and spent a lot of time in there. There were plenty of manuscripts that were not ready to see the light of day yet, but, you know, I did what I could. And then I prepped all the ones that were as polished as possible. I made query packages for every single one of them.
Yeah.
I think like 5 or 6 different projects. And when I sent my queries out, instead of just picking one and sending it out, I tried to read between the lines and figure out which of my projects would be the best to get my foot in the door with this particular agent. And so I looked at, you know, what do they have on their manuscript wish list? What have they read that they enjoyed? What is that, literary? Is it commercial? What does the prose look like? You know, what are the themes? What do I have that's as close to that as possible? Or going to fit for this agent? And so I picked one project to lead with. I ended up with 3 offers of representation within a week of querying, and all of them were on different projects.
I don't know what I would do.
Same genre. Like, one was adult, and 2 were picture books.
Did that make it harder to
That's crazy. Honestly, that is so wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't make it harder to choose. I feel like it made it easier to choose because okay. So when I say adult, I mean, I write adult horror under a pen name. And everything else I have is picture books. Like, my name is known for picture books. I think I have 19 picture books or something like that. So one offer was only on the adult. One was only on picture book. And then the agent I went with happened to work and be very well known in both. That's Amy Jafrida over at Belle Castro. So I was kind of going into it thinking that I would need separate agents more likely than not, like somebody for my kidlit and somebody for my adult. I turned out to not need that, but that was a thought that ran through my head.
Yeah, I know people sometimes have more than one agent, or sometimes one agent doesn't rep nonfiction and they write both. So they have both. But I also hear that if you can, it is ideal to have one agent that you work with for everything. And that kind of makes sense, because then you can collaborate on your career choices. And for example, the choice of, do you need a pen name for the 2 different things, which obviously you do.
For mine, oh yeah. But sometimes like somebody like Kate Alice Marshall writes under the same name for YA and adult, because enough of the themes and like tone, they're not wildly different from one another. Yeah. It's just the age group difference. But it really depends on like the book, the author, whether or not a pen name is going to be helpful. And that's before you even go into like, is there a past track record, or are they trying to break into a new genre or something like that? You want an agent who is so excited about your work because, you know, hopefully you're in it for the long haul with them, and you're talking career level choices, not book level choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's one of like the most things I'm looking forward to when I do get an agent, is just having that person to help me with the career level choices. Because I'm mostly great with book level choices when I'm like reining in the chaos. But I think that's one of the things I've noticed too, even with other writers, is that everybody keeps saying they want their teammate, they want their partner in crime, you know, they want the duo. And I think a lot of people don't realize what that entails. So you highlighting that is perfect. Do you guys think now since doing this series that you feel a little safer in the writing community, or do you think that more things like this need to happen, or the writing community needs to do something specific in order for that to happen?
I'm gonna answer the first. I'm gonna say both. You know, I do feel safer, and I think that more things should happen like this because this is a good thing. I think. You know, I think as agents, we don't get a lot of chances to kind of do these, you know, very public facing, community facing type of things. You know, that gives an inside look at the more human side of this job. And I think those are good things. I think that, you know, it brings everybody a little bit closer. And also, I do think that, you know, you know, that this is a good thing and, you know, very positive for the community and stuff like that. But I do think that, you know, both, yes, feeling good, whatever, but also we should be doing more things like this. I think this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Both.
Yeah.
I think more things like this is going to be a trickle effect, and I'm going to do my part as much as I possibly can. Like I've always said, you know, Lioness Ink and Insight is a safe space for everyone, and that's no question to that. And I'm going to keep doing things like this. So I'll invite other agents or guests, and we'll keep poking holes in the veil that people build between the roles and the writing community as a whole. Do you guys think that the writing community is gradually becoming more unsafe lately, or do you think that it's slowly starting to come back around to what I like to call its roots? Because it used to be a good place. It used to be positive.
I think it still is, but it depends where you go. Like, if I open up X these days, I never scroll it because there's just weird, random stuff that's not interesting. And it's funny. Like my husband will still say if he wants to kind of make a general statement about someone is posting on social media, he'll be like, "Oh, and they went on Twitter," and I'm like, "There is no Twitter anymore, and it's not where we go like for community anymore." But there are kind of different kinds of community in different places. Like there's a ton of writing discussion on Threads that's really fruitful and can be really supportive. There's also on Blue Sky with a little bit different flavor, but that's also there. And that's a great place to just kind of be a well-rounded person, and you can show your crafts and your writing and shout about your client's wonderful deal. And like it feels like that all is accepted. And then I think more people have moved to more private chats, Discord servers taking the place of what they used to have more publicly. Mm-hmm. So the community is still there, and there's still a ton of support.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Then,
you go. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think that a lot of the negativity in these spaces, you know, there are always people who are going to, you know, get that pass or get those rejections, and just there's no matter what you tell them, they're not going to like agents, and that's okay. And I think a lot of the negativity comes from those people who are just louder than the majority. You know, the majority of people who go online and, you know, talk about agents like that, you know, most of the writing community is never going to see those things. I think that, you know, the people who want to genuinely learn about the industry and have a career in the industry, like they know where to go to find those resources. They do the Discord, they do Instagram even, I think is a good place. You know, they go to these other places and engage honestly and openly with agents, with editors, with each other. And I think that, you know, it's really a lot of the negativity is just a few loud voices that sort of drown out all the, you know, the actually good things happening in this space.
And I think too, it's hard on our side. Like as many people know, I've had all kinds of people reach out to me and say certain things to me. I don't know about you, AJ and Josh. You know, thankfully, I haven't gotten to the point of some other agents I know. Like I have an agent friend who had some really scary thing happen with a query and her personal address, which is not publicly listed anywhere. So there are things like that that happen more often than you would think. And so we have to be very careful how we present ourselves and how we respond to things online. And for the most part, I don't think it's a majority issue. Like, I think the majority of authors really the problem. It definitely, like Josh is saying, it's the loud individuals.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know, I'm only one person and there's only so much I can do to combat when things like that come my way. So I'm going to make choices that hopefully protect my peace as much as possible so I can keep doing this job and keep doing it the best that I can. So I do think that and hope that more authors like find their community and also find their voices and are not afraid to speak up and share the positive things too, because I think everybody kind of needs it more than ever right now, like everybody. And it's only a domino effect if the first domino falls. So, you know, sharing any type of positive interaction or ways you were encouraged or something you learned, like passing on what you've learned, it's going to have massive ripple effects. But it all starts with deciding that you are going to be loud about those things. Because we outnumber the others.
Yeah. I think that's very true. And I've noticed that too. Like, you'll see a post where someone got an agent and it gets pretty good responses. And then you'll see a post where someone is rioting because this person did this wrong and that wrong, and it is blowing up. And I'm just like, negativity thrives. We gotta be a little louder than that. And
you know, though, the other thing too is that algorithms, social media algorithms, like, are designed to push something that's controversial or that gets engagement. And so naturally something that is gray or, you know, a hot take or something like that, where people are going to be debating or constantly commenting or retweeting and calling each other names, that's always going to naturally be favored by algorithms. So I think that that's the other factor to consider is, like, you know, is it getting traction because it's true or more people feel this way? Or is it a little bit of like the algorithm just trying to do its thing?
Yeah.
And that's even more reason to engage with a positive post. You see somebody's release day, like, congratulate them. You know, you read a book and you really enjoy it, talk about it online, talk about that author, talk about that. If you reach a milestone in your writing, like, post about it, but then also go and engage with other people in their milestones, and make that one touch point into something more than just that one touch point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. I try to keep all my stuff positive too. I think pretty much everything in mine is positive. And I've seen one of the things that I wanted to talk about too, is kind of in lieu of that, is, like, for example, there is an agent who was part of the series who posts all kinds of positive things all the time, helpful feedback and everything. And then the one time that she posted something that other people didn't quite agree with, instead of saying like, oh, I have a different point of view, she got, like, verbally attacked online by so many different people, and it just snowballed, and all her other positive posts kind of got overshadowed by that. And so I think more that we try to also at the same time say, like, you know, we can have a difference of opinion. So we're not always going to agree with what agents say. Agents aren't going to always agree with what we say. It's kind of like your brothers and sisters, get along. There's no reason.
Sometimes the better place is like a private conversation.
Yes.
Depending on what it is.
And it's okay to disagree. And we don't always have to agree on everything. And, like, you can have different points of views, like, even between two agents. Like, not every agent is going to agree with each other. Not every person and human being is going to agree with each other. So if you don't agree, move on.
And I think that one of the reasons that people will pile on something like that, where it starts as just the agent expresses their opinion, people don't agree with it, and that should be fine, but people pile on it because they see it as a gatekeeper position. They see it as a person in power dictating the way things are, and that's not really true. That's just a person expressing their opinion. They're not changing what, if they said, I don't want to see XYZ in a query, then they don't have to request that manuscript, but maybe I'm fine with XYZ in the query and I request that manuscript. And it's so they're not like, by having that opinion, they're not blocking anybody. But I do see how it can be easy for people to feel like that's making their life so difficult.
For example, I never want to see like true hard sci-fi, period. And the reason is because you don't want me working on your hard sci-fi. It will not go well. You will be better off with literally anyone else besides me. Now, like sci-fi threads I can do, but like that doesn't mean sci-fi books will cease to exist, or, you know, they're never going to sell, or there's no readership, or things like that. But I think that's just a really good example of like, it's that opinion is not an industry thing. It's I'm terrible at it. Don't put your hard sci-fi in my hands. It will fall apart. No one will be happy.
That's like taking a cupcake recipe to a guy who cooks steaks and say, hey, make this.
I'm telling you, this is not the combination. Like, one of the things I am good at, and this is not it. That and graphic novels and literary fiction. I can't do it. I can enjoy it as a reader. I cannot do it. I don't know what it is.
I don't even read those topics. I can't. I'm just like, I can do fantasy all day. Give me the vampires, give me the witches. And when you start getting into space and stuff, I'm like so confused now.
I love that stuff. Send it to me.
Yes, send it to Josh.
Yeah, send it to me.
Send it to Josh. Right down there.
Josh
Vicky,
is the one who does.
Exercise that one of your mentors had you do sounds like a really, really good one, where you looked at what you're actually selling. Did what you found surprise you?
Yes, because I have an education background, so I thought I would have sold like a lot more nonfiction picture books than I did. My bread and butter is commercial picture books. Like,
really,
those move for me. The other thing that moves for me is YA and adult horror. Again,
different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah, both ends of the spectrum. It's not different from my writing. Those are like the two things that, like, I'm looking for more horror right now because I've sold all of the horror that I had, which is a very good problem to have. But I was expecting to have a much more like, I thought I would have more literary picture books on my list than I ended up having. I thought I would have a lot more like general YA than I ended up having. When I first started agenting, I thought YA contemporary, because I was such a huge reader of like John Green and Lurleen McDaniel when I was growing up. And turns out I just like those as a reader. Don't have the eye for it as an agent. But you hand me a YA horror or a YA like fantasy or speculative something, or like anything in that space, you know, in the commercial space, and I'm your girl. I've got it. But it took a while to actually figure out and pinpoint where my strengths were. And I did have to part ways with some with some authors over that, all on good terms and with referrals, but you know, they're going to be in better hands than mine in the long run.
I think it takes a lot to, sorry, go ahead, AJ.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think I'm earlier in the process, but I feel like, oh, this is going to show us really interesting things about ourselves. Like 2 of the first 3 projects I sold were unusual genre blends. They were the second manuscript by an author I'd taken on for something else. And I was like, I probably wouldn't have taken it on as a first project because They're brilliant, well-written, but really strange genre blends that I thought would be hard to place. And yet they sold really quickly.
Yeah, and I think right now horror is getting like a really big uptick. I've noticed, like anything dark and gruesome and all of that. And so I think that's too why I'm actually writing a thriller right now with some horror elements in it, and I'm doing my rewrite of Belle Strider, and I threw in a little bit of horror for spice.
I should say that part of the reason why I love horror so much and horror adjacent things so much is because I worked at a haunted house in college.
Really?
So for me, there's something about like the psychology of scaring somebody that's just absolutely fascinating. So like, here's your fun fact takeaway for haunted houses. If you're a scaredy cat or you don't want to be scared, go first, because the actors are never going to jump out at the first person. They're the bravest. They're going to go for number 2 or the second to last if it's a big group, because that's how you get the screams, and the screams get everybody scared.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's something about like that experience that's always stuck with me. And so like, yeah, anything in like the eerie, creepy, spooky, psychological space is something I really love, which surprised me because most of what I read is like I love Brandon Sanderson and like I love fantasy. I love John Green. I do read a lot of like horror and things like that. I thought I would be in spaces that I'm not in as an agent. I mean,
That makes sense.
I love the way horror is currently allowing experimentation, and it's not like, okay, you've got to have all the exact elements. You can really be creative in it right now.
I feel like horror is like the genre you can just kind of like do whatever you want. Like you want to kill off people, kill them.
Yep. No, for sure. I love horror. I'm a big fan. I have this great like horror at sea right now. And that's what I like is the setting, and you can play with things. I've been looking for like a super, super funny horror for such a long time. You know, and I think that, you know, because now we're getting like the horror romance, and there's a word for that, but I can't pronounce it.
Hey, Josh, you need to connect with me after this because I have one I've been on the fence about that. Like,
Okay.
now that you say funny horror, I'm like, it actually might be a good fit for you.
Okay, I definitely want to give that a look. Like I've been like since I started as an agent, I've been like, man, I'd love to just kill like a super, super funny horror. But
yeah, I might have a one to send your, not of mine, obviously. It's
sure. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, that'd be. I'll shoot you an email after this. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, no, I think I really like where the genre is right now. You know, it's on the up.
Yeah.
So, especially with the gothic stuff, you know, being so big these days. It's a good time.
I guess that's the other thing that authors should take away from this conversation too, is that trends always cycle back around. We just can't predict when. No one can predict when. But like, just because something is harder in a market right now doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. Like even a year ago, vampires were a pretty tough sell. And now I'm hearing people say, I want vampires. I want vampires. Like things always come back around. It's just a matter of time because people want something different. So yeah.
Yeah. Always write what you feel compelled to write, what's in your heart, because it will have its time and place, even if you have to wait. And my agent and I are actually kind of waiting on one of my manuscripts because it's a totally realistic, upmarket thriller, which is kind of a traditional thing. But right now, everybody wants horror and those horror elements, and it's this. So she was like, "Let's just wait and see what happens in the next little while."
Well, and the trends that you see as a reader are very different than the trends that we see as an agent.
Yeah. And I saw something online actually, and like right along with that someone said that what you're seeing on shelves, that whatever phase it is already past. that's well and done and over with, because it's already been through the agents, it's been through the editors already. So now they're on to the next big thing. So the next big thing is not what's on shelves, it's what hasn't even hit shelves yet.
Which means if you have something that you're writing that you're like, nobody's ever done this, and I don't know if anybody will want it because it's, well, maybe you're creating the next trend, right?
I went through a period where I was scared to write fantasy because it was in the time period where nobody was really wanting any fantasy. Like, it was so downhill, and they were wanting like the thrilling romance and all of that, and like romantic suspense. And now it's like booming, and I like took a chance and wrote a fantasy, and I'm just like, I'm glad I did that.
And just because you don't see somebody, I would actually say, if you see an agent's manuscript wish list that says, I want like XYZ, or I'm, want whatever, and you've got a fit for that, awesome, send it along. But know that you aren't the only person that saw it. And so that competition is going to be pretty steep. Sometimes people will be like, oh, I have this, but it's not on their manuscript wish list, so they don't send it. And it's like, well, is it a genre they represent? And like, is it something that fits otherwise? Send it, because then you're not competing with hundreds of other writers. That might be the only thriller they got that month. And
it might be something that, like, when you're, in my like experience, just like reading books and stuff, like I've picked up a book one time that I never would have picked up before because it wasn't my like type what I went for, and I ended up loving it absolutely. So it's the same thing as like, if it's not on their like anti-wish list or things they don't want to see, but it matches genre, send it. What's the worst that could happen? They're gonna say no.
Yeah, okay. Just make sure it's not on their anti list, or like I don't rep list, or not open to list. But if they say I do mystery, thriller, suspense, horror, and then their manuscript wish list is like, I want sapphic gargoyles, but you don't have sapphic gargoyles, like a mystery that would otherwise be a fit, or you have a thriller that would otherwise be a fit, like, if it's a fit for that agent, don't wait for the weird specific bullet points that they give.
Someone's gonna go write a
tell you what, I want sapphic gargoyles.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
As I was saying that, someone's gonna go write that now, and then Josh is gonna want that. So now Josh is gonna get sapphic gargoyles, and then you've got one of your people. I was
thinking the Rachel Gillick book I just read. The Night and the Moth, and then I don't know why that came together in my head. This is why we can't have these things.
Clearly you want to see sapphic gargoyle. I can't even say it, gargoyles. Wow. I'm like not wording now. My brain is like, nope, no more correct words. We've had so many funny bloopers in doing this series. It's hilarious. I like wanted to compile a whole thing. There was one time where I told someone I hope they have a gay day. I'm like, I don't even know. I was trying to say good day and it came out gay day. I'm like, have a gay day.
There are worse things.
Yep.
It's been so fun. And then I remember me and you, Vicky, we had to like stop for a second because I couldn't talk anymore. It just like got all jumbled.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, hold on. I promise I know words. I promise I'm good at them.
One phrase I say all the time when I'm at a conference and I've reached the end and I start stumbling over my words is I'm always like, I swear words are my job. I promise words are my job.
That's what you said to me. And I'm just like, you're doing the Italian hand. Like, no, I swear. So how do you guys think, I don't know if you guys, we pretty much already answered this, but I still want to know while we're closing out, like, how do you guys think the writing community can do better to create a safer space? I know we said be kind and everything, but is there anything for you specifically what you hope to see more on your end, or something that you wish you could do more of, like put stuff like this out of more online?
I can go first. Because I might have to dip a little early maybe. But I think that for me, a big part of it is, I'm juggling, and all agents are like this. I'm juggling so much. I have a day job. I have clients. There's so much I'm tending to, and I know it takes a long time for us to get to your queries, to get to your submissions. And, I think that for me, I just ask for, a little grace, a little patience. But I think that applies more than just, queries, but to all things. You mentioned, an agent who, recently, kind of got cooked online a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think in situations like that, it's important to remember that at the end of the day, this, agents who are online giving advice, like I give them all the credit. I can't do that. If someone wants to message me and ask me a question, happy to answer. But I can't, just going online and here's just, advice. I don't know. And so agents that are willing to do those things, like they shouldn't be attacked for it. They should be, supported in that endeavor, because there's so much, mystery and cloudiness in this industry, and someone who's going out of their way and putting them, in a sense, putting themselves out there to help you in your circumstance, so if they, phrase something a little weird or funky, I don't think you should immediately let's jump on them and dogpile them because they said something bad. It should be, hey, like, did you mean that? Or because they probably didn't. And so I think there should just be a little more grace, a little more patience. At the end of the day, we're just doing our best in a very difficult job and in a very difficult industry.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think just knowing that we're flawed. I'm weird.
Embrace the weird.
I will say I've done the advice thing. I've done that more on TikTok than anywhere, and responses have been super positive.
Oh yeah, Book Talk I love Book Talk. That's like my new favorite place to be, and I'm so mad I couldn't get TikTok live to work on this streaming software. But yeah, Book Talk is great. It's nothing but positive people. I think that's kind of where all the good, positive writing community people went. Most of them. I don't want to say all of them. Let me backspace, because Twitter has still been really great. And just so have the other ones. But there's good and bad everywhere you go.
Look for the helpers. Isn't that the quote?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So before we officially wrap this entire mini series, guys, is there any final thoughts or closing notes you would like to leave the listeners with? We have currently 22 people watching right now.
I apologize in advance. Okay, so there is something that a college professor of mine used to say. And it was one of those things that in college, it didn't really mean much. And I was like, yeah. And then after college, it was like, oh, that was actually genius. So I can't take credit for this quote. He always used to say, know what you know what you don't know, what you believe. And I think that translates to anything.
Josh or AJ, is there anything you guys want to
I think I kind of said it with my last little spiel, but yeah, I think just, be nice to each other. That's sort of the whole thing. I mean, it takes more effort to be an asshole than not. So just don't.
Yeah.
But I guess to the people that are watching, I would say, like, go you. It's if you're here, you're watching something like this, you're way ahead in giving yourself education, grounding, and like taking always the right next steps, because we're always moving in this industry. It's great that you're here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys for being part of this series with me. I know it's been a little bit of long haul, and especially scheduling this thingy back and forth, like blowing up your inboxes. So thank you for hanging in there with me and all of your patience. I've been completely honored to have you guys part of Lioness Ink and Insight. If you guys don't have anything else, are you guys okay? I didn't see any comments on, I've been checking like 6 different platforms, but I haven't seen any comments. But in case I miss any, or there's some that come in later, are you guys okay with popping in and answering them if I tag you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Perfect. Yeah, because I'll make sure I tag you guys so you guys don't have to like look for it. I'll notice and then make sure you guys know. Well, that's it. That's all I have. So until next time, stay real, stay weird, and stay fierce. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thanks for doing this.
Absolutely. That's it for today, guys. So thank you for being part of the Lioness Ink and Insight Pride Lands. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. After this, we're going to have a lot more guests coming. I currently have podcasts with some pretty well-known artists, a musician from Poland. Her music was actually at the beginning of this and is going to be played at the closing if you guys want to stay and listen. And I hope to see you guys in another episode. Anybody watching who wants to be part of Lioness Ink and Insight, you are able to DM me. I take on any kind of guest. It doesn't matter, writer, whatever you do outside of writing, we cover all topics here. But thank you guys for attending and watching. I can't wait to see you guys again next time.
I don't need much more my skin. Soon I look like my father. I wanna dive into the ocean now.